that?
I think that's a
Order ID.
Order ID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the order ID. This is the store.
Yes.
This is the salesperson, like so.
Yes.
Yes.
And then what's this number?
Store
here?
number.
Or item number.
Oh,
Oh, the item number.
item.
Price.
And then
Date.
that's the price, and that's the date. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's ordered by store, by salesperson, probably, yeah, probably, yeah, there's a repeat. Then it's ordered by that. Okay.
And the price is greater than set.
So this is good. I'm happy. It might have been nice if you did a couple group buys and then you could have said, you know, this guy had 9 and that guy had 6. If you had done some group
Right. I
buys.
tried doing the group buy and count, but I couldn't get it to work.
Yeah, because, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. I'm happy. You learned something. Oh, well, how did you just show that, by the way? Did you open up the zip file that I had there?
I just
I
just clicked on it. And it just,
Yeah, okay. So you found your own there. Yeah, okay. That could be somebody else's, but maybe not. Yeah, okay, that might.
Was that 2
Oh, yeah, you did have 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so extract all on that, or, and then right-click on that, and open with the top, like Notepad++.
So that was
That was your command suite. Okay. All right, good job. Sure.
All right, I'm going to submit this right now.
You're what?
I'm submitting it right now to you.
So you're sending the mail with 2 images?
It'll be just one zip file.
Okay, no problem. I don't know what else I'm seeing here. Are you sending me email in Canvas?
Yeah, I'm turning in the assignment.
I know, right?
Are you gonna go?
Yeah.
I tried a couple of times. Then I have to go to work. That's it.
So forewarning, my code's going to look horribly confusing because what I did was I just kept all my code running. So everything that we did in class with Kurt, I just kept it in a running string, commented it out so I could refer to it within the same document. And then anytime I found a reference I thought I might like reviews, I just copied it in. I was going to clean it up later, but later's here and I haven't done it.
Are you feeling really confident that you said?
Yeah, it says it was submitted.
And that's what you need in a job. Yeah.
You sent mail, you didn't, did you submit it as a file?
I submitted it as a file.
Oh.
That's what
I
you
thought
need.
you sent it as a mail. All right, that changes.
No, because I haven't tried the assignment section.
It's just way faster. Yeah.
Okay, so no, you
And you
can't
get
stand there because
exactly
you're gonna have to see everybody's grades when you open.
Sorry.
So.
I won't tell them.
It's really cool. Very pretty code this week.
All right, now you.
like the I didn't know what it was. Honestly, about the project, he's like, I'm tired of trying to make this work. And I took like his 3 code project, broke it down into like 50 lines of code. It's just beautiful and it works perfectly. So
Good viewing.
my entire week is just like I use the new Visual Studio. Yeah, NBC.
Okay.
5 is the latest. I use that one. Yeah, we use 5. And
What
C6.
happened? Oh, yeah, I have turned it off so the world for
Yeah, it's the latest stuff. It's nice because I'm since we're only 3 developers, it's easy. Yeah.
Okay, so Kurt said this could be described as small. So from pretty much here down is mine. And what I wanted to do was the question was, can I break it up by, take it into hour chunks of the total sales, and then compare the total sales of that against the average of the entire day's sales, and see which hour produced the highest above average or below average sales demographic. And I
So
did.
that's a pretty aggressive goal.
Yes, I tend to be that way, and it poses me every time. Kind of like the old dog that lays on a nail that won't move. So what I had to do, because I know that there's a way to get the timestamp, but when I was reading everything I could find on it, I couldn't quite grasp the concept of how to do it. So the second best way I could figure out how to do it is to actually go through manually select the rows that were within the hour. And that turned out to be one hell of a complicated process. So what you have to do is you actually have to load the data in twice, and then you compare it against itself by a filter. So hour one, which would be the first hour chunk, was pretty easy to do. Filter the info by order ID, anything that was less than line 38. So here's where the first comparison to itself comes in. Hour two, you do a filter join, and it's by the first data load that I want to compare against. And this is telling it which column or columns I want to use as the filter. And then the set value. And then because apparently you can't use a total string as between this number and this number. It doesn't work that way. You have to bring in the second data set, which is identical to the first, just named by something different, and comparing it to it's all the same criteria with the high-end number. So what that will do is it'll produce everything that's within those lines. So down here is where I was starting to work on getting the hourly average. And I couldn't figure out how to actually make the for loop go through and do it on those individual hours without having to repeat the code over and over and over again. Because I would have really liked to have written one line of script. Do you know how to do it?
Yeah, so you do so whatever the bag's index is, you do that dot parentheses and then the tuple values, and then it goes through the whole bag. I did that in mine somewhere.
Should have called me. So essentially that's what's going on the lower half of Tues, just kind of run through all the hourly averages. And what I did was I dumped everything into a file called all done so that I could store it all in one place, because it would bring in all the different elements. Like I said, it's really ugly code because it's kind of how my mind operates until I can pretty it up. So the output turns out to look like that. And all just means bring in all the different fields that we've already used, or the different columns that we've used, and display it. So what you have here is you have order ID, you have the store number, you have the sales rep, and then the item number, and I don't remember what the next one was.
Price.
Was that?
Is that price?
Can't be price because price is between 5 and 10. I think that would be what I was trying to come up with as the average. And then 8 is what the store sold on that particular line item. So the whole process would have been, now compare the average to.
In your other page where you have like the $1, I kept seeing that places but didn't really understand what that is.
I was trying to implement that, and so that was a failed attempt.
It's a placeholder to place, like if you want to give an ID for something like order ID, you can say $0. So that would reference to your order ID, and when you load the data, the first column.
Oh, so like if there's, I was having that issue where
Yeah.
I had a column that didn't have a name, so I
Yeah,
could
you
just
can say
$0
$0 as, and you can give a name for it. So that would represent the name.
With that, everything I read said it was more in reference to the what we call it, the environment variable. So where you want to bring something out, or push it outside to, like, if you want to save it to always root, you can do the $ variable.
Okay.
It's same as script, bash script.
Yeah.
Is essentially what that is. But I was just trying to do it here. I haven't fully grasped the concept like certain other people. On how to do that. Well, people, yeah. So that's it.
So just explain to me, you have these series of data sets. And they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. What are the fields in there again?
So order ID number.
So order ID number 1?
Right.
Okay.
So if we were
So
to
for
open
that,
up
for order ID number 1, it was sold in that store.
by that salesperson.
And that's the item number.
Item number. I believe that was the average that I was trying to come up with, whether it was higher or lower than the average. And then the dollar amount.
And then the dollar. So then you have like 450 of those.
Yes, I'm running it. But the flatten would have brought it down, right?
Flatten would have just made everything, so it would have taken out the bags and the tuples. It would have just been all comma, 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 comma.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. You got something? Are you ready, Lisa?
I'm ready, but
Okay, go ahead. You can work even more on yours. So what do you have? Oh, you have USB.
So we do the way we assign it out is we just split projects. Like, hey, you do this project, but we don't have different, like every meeting, so I do all that.
all right. So the thing I was trying to figure out was who sold the most of each type of item. So there would end up being, one winner for each item, and then also which location had the most sales of each individual item. So I did run into some problems because I couldn't just max everything. I had to do it in groups, and I never quite got to that, but I got enough information that we could get it. But so the first thing that I did after loading was I created a subset of the thing so that I didn't need the time or the dollar amount. All I kept was I kept the order ID, the item, salesperson, and store number, because I think I was worried about getting duplicates. So I kept that order ID, and I suppose other people had duplicates, so that wasn't actually an issue. Then I saved that as something called Group B. Group A was with all the data that I would need for both sets of results. Um, so then I did a combination of grouping by item and salesperson, and then I wanted to put the count on the end of each one. So I was able to do that along with a for each statement. I saw most everyone was doing the group by in a separate step, but it can be part of, it could be what you were saying. Instead of saying group A, you could give it a group by that comes up with the results. And then the flatten was something that allowed me to get results. So let's see. So I got the count for each sales and salesperson. So then the next step was to get the max of each of those groups. So I sorted it by item instead of item and salesperson, so that all of the ones that sold that particular item would be included in the max. And let's see, I can think here. So that allowed me to determine which one was the most, but I could never figure out how to filter it out to just the ones. There's more than one that could have sold that same number of things. So I was not really happy to do a top one in this case, because I thought anybody that sold 10, if that was the most, they should all get credit for it, not just the first one. So I never did figure that one out. And that's why I've got some commented out lines in there in like 14 through 19. And I guess I could show you those A, B, and B2. B results. So group A is just the subset. There's still 450 rows, but they're just only those 4 columns. This is the item. I think this is the salesperson, this is the store location. And then this is the item number, the salesperson, and how many sales they made of that item. So it goes all the way through 1 through 24 of the sales for each, or for the salespeople for each item. And so there's a lot more, because it's tallied. And then the next one I got was, this one had the max on it. And this one is only, so each one had what the max value of sales for each item, and then all of the rest are anyone that's sold is in that, and that's, I don't know if that's from flattening, that it's separated the salespeople from their quantities over here. I'm not quite sure how I did that.
Yeah, you mentioned that
I did a flatten.
count, and you gave the salesperson, so that this half would be the count, and that would
Rather than having it just say group. So then,
The go-to person for the big questions.
then I went on and did the same things with the, let's see, how do I get back to that? The same type of thing with the store number. So I grouped by item and store number, got the count for each, and then stored it in group C. And that one is item, store location, and count. And I didn't do any ordering by, so it's just ordered by item ID, I think. And then group C